Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Hey, I'm DJ Ross. I'm in Mountain View, California. Population of 82,000.
Correct. Yes, we've established that. Our pre-show banter is leaking into the main show.
Yes, yeah. Everybody's like, wow, they're just talking about city populations? That's great.
Yep. DJ and I have just rollicking conversations about city density. On every episode of Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. This week, we are playing Promise Mascot what's it called? I almost said Promise Mascot Energy. That's a different thing.
Oh.
It's Promise Mascot Agency. I am also revisiting Strange Horticulture, which some of you may remember is a game I've played before.
Yes.
And I also went to Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios, so I will talk about that.
Oh, man. I also went to Super Nintendo World.
What?
Not really, but...
Did we go together? How did I miss that?
I was right behind you in line for that one thing.
In all the lines. For all the
in
things.
every line, yeah.
In every line. Yep.
Weird. No, I do really like when the stars align and I can secretly play whatever you're playing that week.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wouldn't it be a hoot if I also went to Super Nintendo World?
It'd be a hoot and a half, DJ.
Yeah, considering it's much closer to me than it's much easier for me to go there than for you.
True. Yes. It was definitely, this is the one in Hollywood. So it was a much longer flight for me than it would be for you.
Yeah, but on the other hand, why would I go to Hollywood? Why would I do that? But no, I did not.
Fame and fortune.
I didn't even go to the Nintendo store in San Francisco that opened a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I heard about that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of the lines, and I'm like, I can stand to wait a few weeks.
Yes. Yeah. It's like when the Trader Joe's opened in Harrisburg. I was like, it'll be fine in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they'll still have food and stuff.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. And I just won't have to wait in line behind screaming children and their screaming parents.
Yeah. I hope they still have some of the cool shirts. Although, do I need a Nintendo shirt? I don't know. I saw a cardigan or something that it was a Legend of Zelda cardigan, I believe, and it had like a little Korok poking its head out of the pocket. And I was like, oh, that's kind of fun.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah. There's also bright green, which is like, I guess makes sense. But it's kind of like, do I want a bright green cardigan?
Yeah, that was my dilemma, because there were naturally Nintendo stores all over Universal Studios.
Oh, yeah.
And then once you're in Super Nintendo World, the portion of the park that is the Nintendo stuff, there's a massive mega store. And yeah, the color schemes on some of these things are not what I would consider to be appropriate for me. A lot of yellows and reds and just like cherry red things. And I mean, obviously the Mario red and blue is very prominent. But there was a collection of dark ones that were Boo, and King Boo were the main character. So it was a lot of black t-shirts with like white line drawings on them that glowed in the dark.
I was going to ask if they glowed in the dark. They better.
Yeah. This is the collection for me. So I still didn't buy any swag. I mean, no. I was flying with just a carry-on. We were just in California for a couple of days for a music festival, and just had a free day, so that turned into a trip to Universal. So I didn't want to
it wasn't a premeditated Super Nintendo World.
No. But I didn't want to load my bag full of stuff that I had to then find a way to get back on Spirit Airlines to Baltimore. So yeah, I was trying to sort of be judicious with, what I was flying home with.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow, that's too bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's still like a $40 t-shirt too. And I'm like,
yes. Yeah.
That feels a little intense for a 50-year-old man with a $40 Boo t-shirt.
I think the last time I was in Tokyo, I was like, there's a Nintendo merch all over the place. But I was like, I really want a Splatoon shirt. Not something with a Splatoon character on it, but something a Splatoon character would wear themselves, with one of their weird logos on it.
Yeah.
Because they sell some of those.
That's awesome.
But they're they're really expensive for a shirt that's probably the wrong size. Right. I'm buying it in another country. So I've got my fingers crossed that they have something like that at the Nintendo store in San Francisco.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time walking around trying to find Animal Crossing anything. but there was not really anything. It is really just the characters that they're featuring on the rides and in the park. So
interesting.
It is pretty much just kind of Mario's lane with a little bit of Donkey Kong. Hollywood does not have like the Donkey Kong roller coaster yet. I think that the Florida park does. I think there's also one in Japan, but there is not one in Hollywood yet. So they did not have that. But yeah, it was a lot of Mario, Peach, Toad, and Luigi were like the 4 characters on just about everything.
No, like Waluigi. Like how far into the cast did they get?
No, they didn't go that deep. When we were waiting in line to go on the Mario Kart ride, you basically wait in the racer's locker room for them to let you into the track, essentially. Nice. Yeah. It's really, really cool. And you could see each character's locker, and they dug a little deeper there. So you could sort of see, I forget who the characters were. I have to look back at the pictures that I took because I was just overwhelmed by everything. But it was cool to sort of see them mining a little deeper into the characters. But yeah, it was neat. They had a locker set up for everybody, and it had their like racing suit with their helmet. So it was funny to sort of see Toad's helmet was this big giant orb.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Real life Toad hat.
Right. Is it his hat or is it his head? I had that conversation with Sarah.
It's a hat, right? Like he's taking it off at certain points.
Has he? I thought Nintendo clarified that it's his head.
Did they? Okay, I remember it was like in one of the Mario cartoons or comics, he took it off, and he's just a little bald guy.
Just a little bald guy inside, yeah.
But now I'm like, oh, maybe those aren't like canon or whatever to the rest of the games. But like, I've seen Toad out of his hat. I've seen a guy who looked like Toad.
I don't recall.
But I mean, he is supposed to be a mushroom or something, right?
Yeah, they all are, right?
I don't know which parts of the Mario lore are like I think if you go back all the way at the beginning, they're all like sentient mushrooms or something. But like, what is Peach?
Peach is just a human girl.
Is she? I don't know. I'm not informed enough about Mario lore to discuss this or to debate.
Yoshi was the other character I remember having a locker. But yeah, they didn't go as deep as Waluigi or Wario or anything like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But it was super cool. We're talking about that now. Let's talk about it now. So we like I said, we were in California to go to the Crew World Festival in Pasadena. That was on Saturday, but we had a free Friday. We flew in Thursday night and did the red eye, and we're like, what do we do with our free day? And I was like, record stores and these things and this stuff. And I got downvoted. And we ended up going to Universal Studios. Well, it was originally a conversation about just going to Disneyland, because we've been to Disney World and Epcot and stuff like that a couple of times, but have only been to Land once because it's in California.
Basically the same, right? It's just like, why would you go to Disneyland if you've been to Disney World and Epcot?
Yeah, because I don't know. I'm not even a big Disney person, so I'm not sure why the conversation went there. Actually, we were talking about the California Adventure Park across the street.
Okay, yeah.
Which we've never been to.
I know you're into the Harry Potter stuff. Well, no, that's Universal, isn't it?
That's Universal,
Never mind.
Ironically, Harry Potter is the one land at Universal we didn't go to.
Good for you.
Yes, that was my take on it as well. They were having a butterbeer festival, and I don't know what that is. So
that's I've always been like, is that something I want? Doesn't sound good, but everybody loves beer. It.
I don't eat butter.
I think it's more of like a root beer.
Oh, it's not even an alcoholic thing.
No, because the kids drink it.
Oh, never mind then.
I don't think it's alcoholic. Maybe they just like let them drink. I mean, they are British, so the drinking age is much lower over there.
Super low. Yeah, they're just wine with breakfast.
Who knows what the drinking age is at Hogwarts, wherever that is.
Yeah. So,
this is the most I've talked about Harry Potter in my life.
Yeah, that's more than I'm comfortable with. I try not to give Rowling any free press.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we ended up trying to figure out sort of what to do with our day, and we went to Universal instead. Also, those Disney parks are like $250, $300 to get in, just the door. Yeah. And
how
Universal
much is
was
Super Mario?
Universal was $125 each, I believe.
God, that's still a lot.
So not free by any stretch, but was not nearly as bad as trying to get into Disney. So yeah, it was awesome. It was a bit of a maze, and it's a working studio too. So there were signs everywhere of them filming, and the walk up to get to Universal Studios, you go through City Walk, which is a bunch of shops, and there was a vegan donut place called Voodoo Donuts that I hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got to the park, did the photo op in front, and then just a beeline directly for Nintendo World because we had the whole day. They closed at like 5 or 6 that day, but I knew we were going to spend some of our time waiting in lines, so I didn't want to miss anything just by standing somewhere waiting to do Mario Kart for 4 hours. It was busy, but fortunately everything moved pretty quickly. They had an online reservation system too, so they were really good at having like QR codes you could scan to get reservations and not jump the queue essentially, but sort of like virtually hold your space. They had a Toadstool Cafe where we did a reservation for lunch with the QR code, so it saved a table for us. We had lunch at 3 p.m. because you couldn't get anything actually around lunchtime.
Yeah, of course.
But that was enough time for us to sort of explore and do the store, and I think it was still enough time even for us to be able to do the Mario Kart roller coaster ride before our lunch reservation. So that kind of worked out nicely. But it is an amazing experience. It's this, you walk through a tunnel of like lights and stars. It's very Rainbow Road, and you come out into this sort of grand reveal of basically walking into a Nintendo game. It's mountainous, and it's at the one end of the area that you're in is the massive what's his name? His castle. The bad guy.
Who's the bad guy? Yeah.
Bowser's.
Bowser.
Yeah, Bowser's castle. Right out of the video game.
It looks like, I mean, they did an incredible job with just, I don't know. Like you said, it looks like the video game is real.
Yeah. And you've got the grass mountains around you, and there's the waterfall and spinning coins everywhere and question blocks and stuff like that. So yeah, just the impression of walking into this thing through this kind of dark tunnel and the flashing lights and stuff like that. And you go out into the California sun, essentially, with blue skies, and it's just Nintendo everywhere.
Are there like coin blocks floating in the air?
They were not floating in the air. I mean, it's the illusion of them floating in the air. They're like mounted to something, but they appear to be in the air.
Okay.
Yeah. There were characters in mascot get-ups, so they had Mario and Luigi were doing photo ops and stuff like that. There was a Princess Peach photo op as well. There was a Toad photo op, which was really cool. I'm like, is it a little kid in there who's inside the Toad outfit?
Did you try and take his hat off?
I did not. No, I didn't ask. There were a bunch of other little interactive things too. There's a thing where you can buy like a bracelet that has a chip in it. And you can use it to punch question blocks and break air quotes here, break brick blocks around the park and stuff like that. Anywhere you see there as a little gold key is it meant to be some sort of interactive thing in this corner of the park. But we were talking to one of the park guides, and he said, "Oh, you could do all the stuff without the bracelet. It just doesn't track your points." So there's like an online leaderboard for the day. If you have the bracelet registered to you, you can go to any one of the screens and see how many coins you've earned for playing in the park. You get 100 coins if you do. Actually, you can get more than 100 coins if you do the Mario Kart roller coaster. But you're actually like trying to knock out other racers and stuff like that, and you get points for doing all of that. I keep saying points, but it's actually coins because it's Nintendo.
What do you get for being at the top of the leaderboard?
I think you just get the satisfaction of a job well done, kind of.
Oh,
I think it's you won Nintendo for the day.
You won Nintendo Land.
Yeah. So we weren't able to track our coins, but we were still doing all the games. There was a brick wall we found as we were leaving one of the features that had the gold key in the middle of it, and we asked the dude, like, "What is this? Is this a game?" And he's like, "Yeah, let me turn it on for you." And he had his little phone device and hit a button, and it said that to me, he said, you'll see blue blocks, and you have to tap all the blue blocks as they fill in and turn.
Oh no,
green.
you activated a P switch or whatever.
Yeah, something, yeah. And then to Sarah, it was the opposite. You'll see green blocks, and if you tap them, you have to turn them blue. And you're competing against each other to see who can get the highest score.
Oh.
And it was this whole wall. It was like a 12-foot long light-up interactive wall. It looked like a brick wall, but he hit the button and all the bricks started lighting up and flashing colors. So it was Sarah and I tap, trying to like whack-a-mole essentially on the wall. And it was super fun. We did a couple of rounds of it before another family came up and we tried to get out of the way and let them play it, obviously. But it was fun to like have this little corner of the park to ourselves with just the guide, obviously, sort of like activating it for us every time.
Yeah,
but he's like, if you had the bracelet, you would be earning points for your wins on this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it was fine to do it without. But there were other things like that around. Like there were brick blocks and question blocks and stuff like that. And if you just with your hand slap the bottom of the brick, it would go ka-ting, ka-ting, ka-ting. So we did, of course, slapped every single brick we could find and every question block we could find. And then got in line to do the Mario Kart ride, which winds through Bowser's castle. You go through like his throne room and you see the giant throne. And you see his library, which is all books about like defeating Mario and how to win at racing and stuff like that.
Who's writing books about defeating Mario?
I'm not sure. And you go into his workshop where he's got blueprints for how to build the best kart to beat Mario at Mario Kart. And he's got, there's big trolleys full of bombs and things like that and bullet bills, like actual like molded giant bombs in a big metal cart. There's a trophy room that has like every trophy you've ever seen, like a 3D version of in a Mario Kart. There's like a physical version of a trophy on a shelf.
Oh, that's good.
So you see all the trophies and you're winding through all of this and waiting your turn to get into the locker room and then ultimately the race car ride thing. So this was super fun. You get like a little visor that you put on and it has magnets in it. And when you get into the cart, in the center of your steering wheel is like a magnetic piece that clicks into the visor so that there's a screen over your eyes essentially. That you can see through, and it superimposes other racers and bombs and stuff like that. And you can see the blocks, the item blocks, rotating on the cart on the track in front of you.
It's like an AR thing or something.
Yes, correct. It's superimposed over everything that's happening on the ride.
Oh man!
So they were telling us steer into the turns because you earn points for good steering.
Wait, so you're actually driving, or you're just like steering the cart?
You're steering the cart, essentially. I don't think it's responding to you, but it is giving you, like, coin credit for being a good driver, essentially.
Okay. I was thinking it was like a roller coaster or something.
It is a roller coaster. So all of the roller coaster stuff is happening. It's a dark ride, so you're indoors, and there's roller coaster stuff happening around you. You're going through different Mario biomes. There's a snow one. There's, the Peach's Castle and stuff like that, and all these other things as you're racing through the Mushroom Kingdom. And on your visor in front of you are other racers zooming by you, item blocks that you can then sort of run over with your car, and there's triggers, of course, in the steering wheel to shoot items at other characters that are zooming by. You're not fighting against other racers; you're fighting against the Mario Kart. I'm sorry, Bowser's. I swear I play Nintendo games. I know these things.
Okay, it's like we go to talk about Super Nintendo World without ever having played a Nintendo game.
Correct.
They got the turtles. They got the big turtle man.
Yeah, Koopas and things.
Yeah.
So you're shooting at all those guys, is what I mean. And then there's the grand finale where you're fighting Bowser, and it's him throwing fireballs, and you're shooting turtle shells at him and stuff like that. And you're pulling the trigger, and you target with your head. So if you move your head, it moves the little reticle on your visor.
Oh, nice.
So you can target other drivers and target the villains. There's the Koopas, the flying Koopas that go over your head, and you can target them and shoot them out of the sky. And then at the end, you're targeting Bowser and trying to take him down. And everybody has to work together for that. So it's you and all the other kart racers are shooting your shells and stuff like that while he's firing fireballs at you. It was awesome. It was super fun. It was super chaotic. It felt very quick. I don't know how long the ride was. If it was more than 35 seconds, I'd be super impressed. It was very fast. I remember having a moment where like we took down Bowser and I was like, oh wait, that's it? That's the whole ride. Yeah, it was fun though. The Bowser's workshop and being able to walk through his castle and throne room and stuff in the trophy room was probably the best part of that. The ride was great, and was like clearly like thoughtfully done and very sort of next gen technology when it comes to dark rides and stuff like that. But just seeing like Bowser's Castle come to life was worth the price of admission, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
and then of course seeing the Mushroom Kingdom and seeing all the platforms and the bridges and all the other, the swamp and stuff like that slamming down, and all of that was super fun out in the world. It was just, it was very, very cool. We had a really good time. Got out of the ride in time to get to our lunch reservation at Toadstool Kingdom. Everything in it is, of course, themed food. They had a ton of really fun desserts and stuff like that, themed after different characters, Kirby and whatnot.
Kirby's there.
Yeah, he was in the restaurant. I didn't see him anywhere else, I don't think.
All right.
But it's the Toadstool Cafe, so it's Chef Toad running around, and there's video monitors everywhere that look like windows. So it's supposed to look like an open kitchen, and you could see all the toads running around making food and stuff like that, with Chef Toad sort of directing traffic and telling people to like make your food
Just
and stuff
like super toxic toward the other chefs.
Right. Yeah. Like the bear. But it's the toad.
Yeah.
They had it was not the most veggie friendly, which is probably not super surprising. But they did have, you could modify the Mario burger to be a Beyond Burger.
Okay. Yeah.
So I did that. And we got a couple of other things. They had little toadstool garlic knots. So it was a garlic knot, but in the shape of a mushroom.
Like, it seems like they should just have a mushroom version of everything on the menu. That seems like a obvious veggie route.
Yeah,
the Mario burger, but
the Mario burger had mushrooms on it, so I think that's where they were going with it.
All right.
It had a little mustache burned into the bun,
good.
Which was kind of fun. Yeah, it was this like little moment of like literally everything. Like they brought us a fork and knife, and the forks and knives had little mushrooms and little bullet bills on them and stuff like that. And I was like, literally everything here is Nintendo stuff.
Did you steal some silverware?
I didn't. No, I didn't steal this. I try not to steal things when I go out in public. Did you?
No, just wondering. I mean, I don't know.
I did have a moment where, like, because the cup that my soda came in had like Nintendo stuff all over it and had like fire flowers and whatever, and I was like, should I save this cup?
Yeah.
And Sarah's like, you're gonna save a paper cup from California? I'm like, no, I guess not.
That's what I was wondering, because I'm like,
put it in recycling.
You go to a theme restaurant or something, you're like, am I supposed to keep this? Is this just like, throw this away? I don't know.
They had an upgrade you could do. I forget how much the upgrade was. Let's say $25, and you would get Super Nintendo World themed place setting. So it was a plate, a bowl, a cup, and silverware, I think. But it was whatever meal you got, it was $25 or something on top of the price of that. And my Beyond Burger was already $25. So I was not going for the $50 Beyond Burger.
Yeah. I don't know if I would go for like a Nintendo place setting. Like, don't have a lot of themed dinners during the week. Or maybe I would if everything looked like it came out of a Mario game. Maybe I'd just eat mushrooms all the time.
Yeah. Oh, there was a little toothpick in the top of my Mario burger that had a little Mario hat on top of it, which was super fun. I did take that home.
Excellent.
Because that was plastic. And Sarah got a dessert that was it was a matcha cake. And the matcha layer looked like the grass on the little Mario platforms.
Oh, I saw that. That was very cool. That was really interesting.
At the top, it had the gold pole with the flag. Was a plastic toothpick, so we kept that as well. Nice. So I did bring home two not reservations. What's the word I'm looking for? Two souvenirs.
Yeah.
So just a super cool experience. Tons of like little like Easter eggs and little nerdy things for you to find if you're kind of a big Mario fan.
Yeah.
Sarah's not the biggest Nintendo or Mario person in the world, and even she was like, "That was super cool. That was super fun." So it definitely
like the look of it
resonates. Yeah.
Well, like they did such a good job just designing the visuals. It kind of like sparks your imagination a little bit. Like I like not really a big theme park person. I'm not even really a huge Mario person, if you want to get into it, but like seeing pictures of the park, I was like, oh, that looks like a fun place to hang out. It's so whimsical.
Yeah. Yes, totally. Yeah, and it starts to get my brain going. Like, you know, if they do like extensions of this, because it is Super Nintendo World, and it really is just focused on Mario right now. But Nintendo is a pretty kind of encompassing brand, and I can and again, we know that they're already doing a Donkey Kong roller coaster at a couple of the parks. So like, where's the Zelda land? Where's the Metroid ride? Where's the,
They're not doing a Metroid one. I want to let you down easy.
Yeah, I know, but you know, there's places they can go with some of these licenses that could be very satisfying, I think.
Did they announce any Zelda expansion yet? Or
not just that I'm aware of, but I have not kept up with all the news on this, obviously.
And I would love to check it out. I mean, and I also like. I mean, I know that a lot of theme parks are doing sort of like the mini game route. There's just like activities you can do other than just going on the rides.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It also just feels like, you know, it's inspired by all these video games. So it kind of makes sense that there'd be little elements of those that you play while you're there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how much there is that in the rest of the park. This is the newest portion of the Hollywood Universal Studios, so it makes sense that it would be the most kind of like technologically advanced, I think. We did a couple of the other like themed worlds. We went to what's the other one we did? Oh, we did the Mummy ride, which I think is the oldest roller coaster there. And that was actually really good. That was a dark ride too. But the graphics in that were a little goofy.
Was the Tom Cruise Mummy or the Brendan Fraser Mummy?
The Brendan Fraser one. So it is quite a throwback experience.
Wow.
We did the Jurassic Park corner of the park, which was super cool. That was
just
they had a bar.
Seems
there
like
too.
A bad idea. Just putting that out there.
Like, what could possibly go wrong?
Go to this theme park that is famous for being a fatal disaster to everyone who visits.
Correct. Yeah, so we sat at the bar and had a couple of drinks. It was Isla Nublar Nublar, I think is the Jurassic Park nerds will appreciate that. Yeah, and they had the Jurassic Park shop there, so that was kind of fun to walk around because they had all the Jurassic Park Lego sets and all kinds of cool like Jurassic Park things I've never seen before. I grew up a dinosaur kid. I was a dinosaur kid when I was little.
Oh, really?
So there's still a part of me that like gets very excited when I see anything related to dinosaurs. Yeah. The
ride like a
for
gallon of ice cream that was gonna melt.
Oh no, I didn't do that. I get that reference though. But yeah, the Jurassic Park ride is a water ride, so we didn't do that because we did not want to get wet. Because people were getting off of it quite soaked, and Sarah was like, "I don't want to get soaked," so we vetoed that. And then we went to they have a whole Springfield Simpsons thing. That's like a block of Springfield, and it has the nuclear power plant and a couple of like, there's a brewery there and they make Duff beer,
Nice.
and Moe's Bar and Tavern is there and all this other stuff. And again, I'm not the biggest Simpsons fan in the world, but this was super fun. It was also one of the other places in the park where you could get vegan food. So I had read that online in advance. So they had a couple of other cool little things that I could eat there.
Is the Simpsons, does that predate the Super Nintendo world?
I think so, not by much. It definitely has the look of being one of the newer portions of the park.
I'm not a big Simpsons guy either, but it seems like, you know, if you were, it'd just be like going to Super Nintendo World. It'd be like, oh man, The Simpsons is real.
Oh, totally, yeah. There were a lot of people, like, you know, a lot of like 40-year-old dads in Nintendo shirts, but there were also like a ton of like people who look like the comic book guy. From The Simpsons.
Well, I mean,
wearing Simpsons gear, and they had like characters and stuff like that, and they had Krusty Krusty the Clown. Yeah, they had
yep.
that. And Sideshow Bob, they had his sideshow essentially, and you could play games. There was a roller coaster there that we didn't do. There's some other fun stuff, but it was just really, really cool. And like the nuclear power plant would go into meltdown occasionally. And like steam would pour out of it, it would shake and it would make a ton of noise. It was just really fun. It felt very immersive. Yeah. So we did a couple of little fun things like that and kind of walked around. And it is one of the parks where you can kind of drink. So we had a couple of beers. It was a beautiful day in California.
Nice.
Did not do the Harry Potter stuff, as I mentioned. Most of that wouldn't land with me anyways. I've never seen that stuff or read those books or anything. So it was not appealing to me. They had a How to Train Your Dragon, which I have seen the movie, and they had a ride for that. But yeah, it was cool. It was a day well spent. It was beautiful weather, but the Nintendo thing was just such a lovely, overwhelming, super positive experience. It was so good. Yeah, and it was very easy to enjoy. It's not huge, so if you go in expecting it to be this massive theme park experience, it really is like a theme world. It's a corner of the park, and you kind of get to see all of it within a pretty quick walk around. If you dig in and play some of the games and do the ride and have lunch at the cafe, obviously you can spend a few hours there, but it is not something where you could spend 12 hours of your day seeing everything, because it's not quite that big.
Unless you're just hell-bent on getting to the top of the leaderboard.
Right, yes, yeah. There were people, I was standing outside of the restrooms waiting for Sarah, and they had like a water bottle filling station. So I filled our water bottle. But there were question blocks all around. And as I was standing there in the shade waiting for her to come out of the restroom, like people kept coming up to the question blocks with their watches on and like slapping all the blocks and making all the coins make noise and stuff like that. And I'm like, this feels overwhelming. This feels like I need a quiet place to hide in for a few minutes.
Yeah.
So there were definitely people in the park who were like trying to get every coin they possibly could.
Those gamers.
Yeah. If you have the bracelet, there's a sensor in the middle of your steering wheel on the roller coaster. That connects it to your account as well. And your score from playing the game while you're driving the cart counts towards your total for the day. And that's the big pickup. Like I said, you can get over 100 coins there. My score was like 131, which was super fun. I forget, everybody in our cart had over 100. So I think they make it pretty easy for you to get over 100. They don't want anybody failing necessarily, but it was good. It was really well done. And then at the end, like your cart spins and you see like an outline of the four people in your cart on the screen, and it shows their scores above their heads and stuff. So there's like, it's very video gamey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
But super satisfying. We had a great day. I was totally worth it. I was like, am I going to feel super annoyed and ripped off at the end of this day? But it was worth every penny.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. I would love to check it out at some point. Like it's, don't make it down to LA much. And like I said, I'm not a huge theme park person, but just all the photos of it look so cool. It just seems like something that would be just a fun experience.
Yeah. I am generally a big theme park person. I love a good roller coaster. But I am also like a person of larger upper body dimensions, as amusement parks tend to refer to me. So there is always that moment of like the test seat where I have to like sit in, and if I can click the thing down, I can go on that ride today. So some of them that I want to go on, I can't get on, unfortunately, because they're not made for like bigger dudes. But everything at Universal was very chubby friendly. I thought that was really impressive. There was not a single cart I sat on that I could not click the thing down over my head. And there was always an attendant nearby who was like, oh, make sure you get, what was the one on the Mummy? She said, on the Mummy, go to row 5 and make sure you get one of the end seats. So there were people who were giving out. Yeah, it was tips to like, make sure you're still able to have fun in the park.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah. We went to Busch Gardens earlier this year when we were in Florida, and there were 2 or 3 rides that I just couldn't get the bars down. So I was like, well, that's a bummer. And Sarah went on by herself. And that's super disappointing too. Like, I don't expect to be accommodated on every ride, but it seemed like Universal certainly had more stuff that was kind of chubby friendly. Just, for our listeners, if this pertains to you, Universal kind of worked. And there was nothing I wanted to see at the Nintendo World in particular that I couldn't see or do. because I'm a bigger guy.
Nice.
Yeah, that was good. Super inclusive.
There's one of these that's like, I don't think it's as elaborate as Super Nintendo World, but that's like a Dragon Quest, not park, but like area or something. There's a Dragon Quest attraction somewhere in Japan. And it's got all these little, sort of like the gamey stuff you were describing, like you swipe, I think they give you some sort of item, like a magic medal that you scan on stuff, and it gives you quests to do. And it's like, oh, that seems fun. And this was the first instance, or one of the first instances I can remember of there being sort of like an activity integrated into all the attractions around the park.
Oh, very cool.
But I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like it's a pretty clever idea, because it's like an RPG a little bit. You just go around and try and find hidden secrets and treasures and take a selfie with one of the big Dragon Quest monsters or something like that.
Yeah. That was the cool thing about the Nintendo world, is that there was like I said, you look for the little gold keys hidden in the environment, and that meant there was a game or an activity or an opportunity to score coins there. But there was no sign that says, this is a game, you should do this. So It was like, again, sort of fostering that sense of discovery. Like I said, with the light up game wall thing that we found, we couldn't quite figure out how to activate it, because Sarah was like tapping it and we were like pushing the coin, and I was like, oh, maybe we need the wristband. And then there was, like I said, an attendant nearby. He was like, oh no, you don't need a wristband, I'll turn it on for you. So it was cool. It was just like a fun sense of discovery. And as soon as I saw a kid slap the bottom of one of the question blocks and it made a noise, I was like, we were going to slap every question block in the park. Yeah, I love that stuff. It was, again, very thoughtfully done.
Nice.
Yeah.
You go back when they finished the Donkey Kong section?
I feel like I gotta.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have the one in Florida that opens, I think it just opened this weekend, actually, because they have the whole new, like, Islands of Discovery or Worlds of Discovery or whatever that whole massive universal thing in Florida is now. And I don't love Florida, but they have the Donkey Kong roller coaster there. So if I ever find myself in Florida again, I would definitely check that out.
Where is the Star Wars one? Is that in LA?
I don't know. Star Wars has got to be Disney, right? I'm not sure which park they have that in.
That might be at Disneyland.
When we were in Florida, we went to Epcot too, and they have a Guardians of the Galaxy ride there.
Oh.
That actually required, like, you had to like reserve your ride session like 2 days in advance before you even came into the park online. And I was like, how do we do this? And she's like, oh, you had to make a reservation 2 days ago. Like, oh.
That's a good thing to learn as you're getting there for the day.
Yeah, as I'm at the park.
So the Star Wars one is like I'm not a big Star Wars fan. This is like, I just feel like I'm just saying this over and over. I don't really like anything, turns out.
I don't like anything. Yeah.
But like just seeing when they create like just a kind of a virtual, I don't know what you call it. It's like just they dress up a whole region to look like something straight out of one of the movies. I'm like, man, that's so cool on some level. Like it's like one of the spaceports with all those sort of broken down spaceships and CD bars and everything. Like, that'd be fun to spend a few hours hanging out in.
Like the cantina, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like, I would even go to the Harry Potter one if it wasn't incredibly problematic. Like, I think it would just be a fun experience, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I'd love to check out the Star Wars one, the Nintendo one, whatever else they got.
Yeah. We like Epcot. It's not really like ride driven. There are some good rides. But it's more kind of experiential, and you can drink everywhere at Epcot too. So when we go, we do the drink around the world thing and just get a beer in every country, which is gets a little crazy. 5 or 6 beers in.
Countries is that?
Yeah, but is a lot of fun. So we've been to Epcot probably more than any of the other ones, and that's the one I feel like Disney has actually put a lot of like capital into, like resetting and rebuilding. We went in 2020 right before the pandemic, and we went again this year, and in those 5 years it's like a completely different park. Epcot's cool, especially if you're an adult. I feel like people drag their kids to it and the kids are not impressed. It's definitely like an adult theme park, I think.
I only went there as a kid, and it always sort of felt like I was curious about it, but at the same time I was like, why this doesn't seem as cool as Disney World.
Yeah, definitely.
But also, I didn't drink when I was a kid, so who knows?
Good call. That's just good parenting, I think.
Yeah.
So, this concludes my tour guide to the stars portion of our podcast.
Nice. Well,
yeah.
I was not... had this been on your list? Like, at some point I'm going to check out Super Nintendo World?
Yeah, totally. I mean, as they've been opening, I don't think I knew there was one in Hollywood. So when Sarah and I were talking about, like, what do we do with our free day when we're in California, Universal had occurred to me, but I didn't think I'd be able to see the Nintendo thing there. I knew that they were doing the one in Florida, and I didn't know there was one in Hollywood as well.
I don't think I was aware there were two of them in the U.S., so that's kind of cool.
I think those are the two. Plus, there's the third one in Japan, I believe.
Yeah.
I think the Japan one opened first.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Which makes sense. But Also, the Saturday, we were at the music festival in Pasadena. This was called Cruel World. It was a lot of fun. It was just a one-day fest with a lot of really good bands. We saw New Order. We saw Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. We saw Garbage. And a ton of other bands that I can't think of right now. So it was a less beautiful day in California. It was kind of grainy and gray and drizzly and actually kind of cold. As soon as the sun went down, we were freezing. But still toughed it out. We stayed through the entire show. Only started walking away when New Order did their encore because I did not want to fight the other 40,000 people to get my car out of the parking lot. So,
yeah, it's the move. That's smart.
Yep.
Clearly,
I've seen them play Blue Monday before. Yeah. Didn't need to see them play Blue Monday again. So let's go. I'm done. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yep. But it was good. It was worth the trip. We had a good time.
Nice.
Yeah. California is very expensive. I don't know how you live there.
Yeah, it is very expensive.
Yeah.
Especially LA.
We got two breakfast burritos in Burbank, and it was $27.
That is a little expensive.
Yeah.
Probably good breakfast burritos, though.
They were fantastic. Yeah, they were amazing.
Better than one of those East Coast burritos.
Yes. Well, I mean, California is very veggie friendly. That makes sense. Pennsylvania is less veggie friendly. So the novelty of being able to really go into any restaurant to get Sarah a breakfast burrito and to go, oh, by the way, they have a vegan option.
Oh, yeah, just be at the same restaurant. That's always
the same restaurant. Because typically when we travel, we have to make 2 stops. Or she has to decide I'll just eat the tofu scramble for breakfast.
Yeah.
So we were both able to be satisfied with this tofu burrito.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyways, we should talk about video games.
Speaking of, we were just talking about video games for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Speaking of video games, though, and speaking of Mario, especially, we should mention that we'll be... Sorry, I was teeing up a big segue, and I realized I didn't have one. We'll be playing some Mario Kart 8. What?
Yeah.
Is that the right number? Mario Kart 8
yes.
Deluxe on the Switch this coming Monday as kind of a send-off as everybody gets ready to throw their old Switches in the garbage when the Switch 2 comes out, right? Right? Everybody else doing that?
Yeah. This is the last episode of Video Game Hangover in a pre-Switch 2 world. So...
that's weird.
Yeah. So we're going to use next Monday as our last chance to, have a going away party for the Switch and play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah.
Which ironically is a Wii U game.
As we, again, during the pre-show banter, we established it's over 10 years old at this point, which is horrifying. So it's practically a retro game at this point.
Yep.
But we're going to be playing that. We're going to be streaming it and also opening it up to anybody else who wants to join. So there will be more details about that on the website, VGHangover.com, and in the Discord. I'm sure we will rope some people in. But if you would like to play Mario Kart with me and Randy next Monday, June the 2nd, is that right? At 10 o'clock Eastern.
I hope that's right. Let me check.
We're going to do some of that. Nice.
Yeah. Yep. If you just want to watch and you don't want to play, you can go to twitch.tv/VGHangover next Monday night, and we'll stream the whole thing there.
Yeah.
You should jump in and play with us.
It has been a long time since I've actually played Mario Kart.
Same.
And I consider myself to be pretty decent at Mario Kart, but it's been a while, so we'll see.
I also not played this in a very long time. They were going through all of the DLC drops a few years ago, and I think that was probably the last time I played this in earnest. So
I don't think I've actually played any of the new courses they added to this.
Oh, wow.
So
I was trying, like, as they were releasing them, to like play them so I could say that I did, but I don't know that I even got through all of them.
Well, there are so many.
It was a lot. Yeah, it's true.
I mean, this is why I was thinking, like, how is Mario Kart World going to compare to this? This is going to be less of everything. It's got to be pretty good
true.
to make up for it.
So go to VGHangover.com for more info, or like DJ said, go to our Discord for more info. I will also mention that in the Discord, I dropped a video of me walking into the Super Nintendo world and seeing that big reveal. So check that out on our Discord, and a ton of pictures that I took all around different corners of the park. So if you're curious about sort of seeing the visual on any of this stuff, and you just want to see my vacation photos, go to our Discord as well.
Plus, you can see that little matcha cake, which was very cool.
Yeah.
I was like, honestly, that was probably the most impressive thing to me. I just saw that. I was like, that looks like you're eating, a level from Super Mario World or something.
Yep.
It was very cool.
Yeah. Sarah said it was really good. It's not vegan, so I didn't get to try it, but she said it was super tasty. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Good times.
All right. Well, I didn't play any Mario games this week.
No, nor did I.
But I I spent quite a bit of time, actually, with Promise Mascot Agency, which came out recently. Nice. I don't know how much you know about this. It is, it's a new game from the studio who made Paradise Killer a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Did you play that one?
I played some of it, did not finish it.
Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, you probably played enough of it to sort of, like, get the vibes, because that game had a lot of vibes.
Very eccentric.
Yeah. So I'm pleased to say, I love that game, but I'm very happy to say that a lot of that same energy has made its way into, what is this game called? Promise Mascot Agency. So it's just like very quirky and offbeat, very funny writing, and you're just like the premise is once again preposterous. It's maybe not as well. Think about this. I was going to say maybe it's not as ridiculous as Paradise Killer, where you are like a private investigator for these like gods, essentially.
Right.
But it's still pretty ridiculous. So in Promise Mascot Agency, you play as a member of the Yakuza who is so you're doing a deal with a rival or another Yakuza family. There's a whole bunch of Yakuza politics going on in the start of this game, to the extent where I was just like, did I just got tricked into playing another Yakuza game? I don't know how I feel about this.
With a 20-minute like preamble about what's going on in the world, yeah.
Yeah, so there's like, you're at this, you're doing this deal, and stop me if you wrote this before, it goes very badly. And as a result, your family is sort of in trouble, and you're forced to... you end up owing a lot of money to another Yakuza family. And as a result, the character you play as, Michi, is exiled effectively to this weird little town in southern Japan to run the one remaining business that this Yakuza family owns so that they can try and earn back some of the money. And it is a mascot agency, which is one thing, because it's like, the big kind of like cartoony Japanese mascot characters.
Yes.
So it's like, on one hand, it's just that sort of agency, like they just supply out these mascot characters to events, like store openings or wherever else it might make sense to have a mascot. But also in the world of Promise Mascot Agency, like, mascot characters are just living, like, people or, like, entities that coexist with humans. So they're just, like, real mascots running around.
So it's not a person in a suit. It's a
it's like a live thing.
Gotcha.
Like, at the start of the game, you're having a little Yakuza meeting, little conference before you have to actually go to the deal, And one of the, I guess, Yakuza family members is just a giant, like, severed finger. Although it's like a cute mascot version of a severed finger because, it's a mascot. And nobody really bats an eye at it. So they just all accept that there are these, like, sometimes somebody's a mascot. Sometimes somebody's just a weird finger.
Gotcha.
So, okay, good. We're all on board with that. So you get there, and there's another finger running the mascot agency, and then you go around and recruit other mascots living in this town to try and get your money back.
Are they all fingers?
No, they're not all fingers. I forget what the exact relationship is. The finger running the agency, Pinky, as it were, is like the daughter or like cousin or something of the finger that's part of the family. I don't remember exactly. Anyway, they're like all these weird mascots, and they're all very silly. And you go and recruit them and send them on jobs around town, like the store openings, to try and earn your money back. So as you're playing the game, it's like kind of it is an open world game where you just drive your tiny little Japanese truck around and try and recruit mascots and otherwise just sort of explore and get to know the town. The actual town experience feels a bit to me like the town in Deadly Premonition, where it's sort of like this, it's like kind of small town simulation. And yeah, that's about it. It's not like super sprawling like a Grand Theft Auto game or anything.
Right.
It's not quite as small as one of the Yakuza games, but it's somewhere in between because like you spend the whole time in this little truck, so you're never really on foot. You're just sort of driving around. And I feel very weird playing this after I had such a like lukewarm experience with Ghost of Tsushima, because I was like playing that. I just thought, well, maybe I don't really like open world games, especially when it just feels like a big map with little collectibles all over it. And there's nothing especially interesting about the world, and especially not like traversing it. It just feels like you're just kind of making your way from one shore to the next. But I don't know what it is about this. For some reason, it's just so much more engaging. I don't know if it's because you're in a truck, or because the world is smaller and maybe a little more intricately laid out than the map in Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
But the whole experience is still mostly just sort of exploring around this map and picking up all these collectibles, whether they are... there's like a bunch of stuff you pick up to like boost your just various stats about the agency, which is another thing I decided I didn't like about Ghost of Tsushima, where like you go and make your way over to whatever like glowing landmark was on the map, and it would give you like a little 2% boost to some stat that felt incredibly insignificant, and like why did you even bother going over to collect this thing? And that's a lot of what you're doing in this, where just like there are so many little pickups, there are so many different incarnations of like the hidden package or the pigeons or whatever.
Oh.
But it's just like, I feel like I'm actually enjoying going around and collecting these things. And I can't explain why. A lot of it is just sort of in service to the story. Like, as you collect enough of these things, it turns out you need to bring them to a specific character later, who will then, you like unlock more of their backstory and their sort of history with the town. Or, like I said, it gives you a little stat bonus. So it actually does feel like, if you collect enough of them, it'll be worthwhile. But also the town just feels more interesting to drive around. Like I mentioned in a previous episode, I just enjoy open world driving games. So it's kind of just fun. It's like much more enjoyable driving this truck around than I suppose like maybe if I had to walk around or ride a horse even. I kind of wondered if there was going to be a point where you hop out of the truck, because like you can do that in Grand Theft Auto. But up to this point, I have just been in the truck the whole time, which was fine. So far, so good.
And is it like a management sim where you're trying to sort of like run the agency or solving a mystery, or what are you?
Yes, the rest of the game is basically just a management sim, which is also kind of weird because I don't play a lot of games that are similar. And it feels like they took one of the management games from the Yakuza series, and that's the whole game outside of driving the truck around. So you hire these mascots and you send them off to appear at these events. And each event has a bunch of different, each event has like one or two different sort of characteristics that the mascots can align with. So some mascots are better suited to going to these specific events. And then occasionally there will be like some catastrophe that happens at the event. Like, what was something that happened? Oh, there was like a big stack of boxes that a mascot tripped over. Or, oh no, the mascot's too big to fit through the tiny door at the store, and now they're stuck. And then you have a bunch of options at that point. I think, like, generally you send an NPC from around town to help them out, and then you play this like card game. It's not really like a collectible card game or anything. Nothing that has that much depth, I think. But it's more like you just have these cards similar to like the characters you recruit in Yakuza 8 Like a Dragon when you're running the cracker shop or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And certain characters are better at responding to the type of disaster that has befallen the mascot. So you want to play as many of those as possible. Otherwise the event is a failure and you don't get the payout for it. And up to this point, it's not super complicated. In fact, the whole game feels like it's not meant to be like super demanding gameplay wise. It's more about just like vibing in this weird little like backwater Japanese town.
And does that work?
So far, yeah, it's been really enjoyable. I mean, it's like It's got a funky soundtrack that plays as you're driving around. Once again, the writing and the characters are all very good. My favorite character so far is you go to, I forget what type of farm it is, but there's like some girl who's like moved from Tokyo to manage this little farm, but she's also a live streamer. So the whole time you're talking to her, she's like doing a live stream and she just constantly keeps interrupting you to talk to the people in the chat, which is like, it's ridiculous, but it's all very well done. It's very entertaining. And then there's like, eventually you have to repay the rival Yakuza family so they don't harass your other family members. And this was maybe the most surprising moment to me was some of your family members show up to make sure they're just like checking in on you to make sure you've been actually earning money at the agency. And you tell them like, oh yeah, we're just getting sort of like started up here. Everything's starting to take shape. And they say like, okay, good. Well, make sure you keep sending money to, back to the family, because if you don't send enough, the rival family is going to get upset and they're like going to like murder the head of the family or whatever. And then it sort of steps out, like the game pops up a menu and it's like, by the way, if this happens, you will get a game over and have to reload an old save. It's like, wait, what? This is suddenly like, this is by far the most sort of like strict the game has been about anything up to this point.
There are stakes now, yes.
Yeah, up to this point, I was under the impression that like, if I don't earn enough money or, if I have to go into the red a little bit, it'll just be a matter of time before I earn more money or like get more lucrative jobs that I can send the mascots on. There wasn't this much of a deadline or this much of a sort of a danger looming. So I got very stressed out for a few moments, but it feels like as soon as I sorted out as soon as I got sort of my mascot roster built up a little bit, I feel like it's not really going to be that much of an issue. It is kind of weird that it still exists, where like, yeah, you do still have to be sending money back to keep this meter from filling. But up to this point, money or income has not really been a problem.
Huh. So you've not encountered like any like failouts or anything like that?
No, so far I haven't had to reload a save or anything.
Oh, good.
There was another moment early on, because like whenever you hire one of these mascots, you have to sort of like entice them to join the agency. And one of the ways you do that is you offer them like job perks. And the ones I've been giving them are like, you get time off. You get, a little bonus whenever after you complete a certain number of jobs. And then I think another one is you can give them sort of like a regular performance review, and they have the opportunity to negotiate a larger bonus for themselves.
Oh.
So that's kind of interesting. It's like, I guess I kind of was in one of the Yakuza management games. But I was just thinking like, okay, I want to make sure the mascots are all happy and everything.
Right.
But on the other hand, I don't want to give them the chance to request a pay raise every single time. Like, that's not good. So it's kind of this hilarious, like push and pull, like, how much are you going to concede to your employees while also keeping them happy? I just felt like a really like toxic manager at that point. I'm just like, no, don't even give them the option of requesting more money. And like, just give them the bonus, give them some time off every once in a while, and we'll see how everybody does. But then, yeah, there's like all these other considerations that pop up as you like expand the agency and hire more mascots that just become part of the overall sort of management gameplay. And I'm hoping it doesn't become too overwhelming, because at some point I felt like with those Yakuza management games, they were always a little bit rough starting out. Like you're just sort of figuring out how everything works, and you're supposed to have you're supposed to recruit enough characters with like these parameters or whatever, because that'll help you with these specific types of jobs. So there's a bit of a learning curve, but like I haven't been playing this for too long, but it already feels like I'm getting my agency to a pretty good place.
Oh, good.
So I think I will just be like, I'll be able to continue to just vibe in my truck as I just scour the landscape for more collectibles and other weird Easter eggs.
Cool. I mean, it sounds very weird.
It is very weird, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to watch the
Paradise
trailer.
Killer is a weird game too, though. So, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, you can kind of just tell people, like, if they ask, like, oh, can you describe Paradise Killer? You just be like, oh, it's like a detective mystery game. And I think that captures like 90% of it. But in this one, like I was watching the trailer when they announced it, and at the end of it, I was just like, I don't think I understand anything about what you actually do in this game. Like there's you drive a little truck around, and like, are you doing stunts? Are you like going off jumps? Because you kind of do that sometimes. And then there's like the big like severed thumb, which incidentally just rides in the back of your truck the whole time and makes like sort of weird mascot noises whenever you crash into stuff. It's like, okay, so I don't really understand how the mascot component figures into it, but it makes surprisingly more sense as you start playing it than I got from watching the trailer. It coheres much better than I feel like it should.
Well, good.
Also, so I totally forgot to mention this at the start, but all the voice acting is in Japanese, and there's no option to turn it to English, which is a choice. It's all the dialogue is English subtitled.
Oh.
But you get these like Japanese voice actors reading a lot of the dialogue during key like story sequences. And the voice of the main character is the guy who does Kazuma Kiryu from the Yakuza series.
Oh, wow.
Which I realized like probably in the first line of dialogue he just like introduces himself or explains what he's doing at the meet. And I just like paused. I was like, wait a minute. Is that Kazuma Kiryu? Is he in this game? Just like, I don't know if, I mean, like I said, I wasn't reading a whole lot about this game. I don't know if this was like a big get that they're like, oh yeah, we're making this game. Also, it's going to have Kazuma Kiryu in it. But it was such a shock to just hear his voice pop up.
Like, and it's Kazuma's normal like speaking voice, or is he doing a voice?
I mean, he's not doing the Kiryu voice exactly, but he's doing that same sort of like no nonsense Yakuza voice.
Yeah.
I assume that's his more or less his regular voice. No, I mean, he's probably not that serious in real life. He seems like kind of a goof in some of the interviews I've seen, but it's like unmistakably like, oh, it's just Kazuma Kiryu. The after he had to like fade into obscurity or whatever, maybe this is what he ended up doing.
Right. Oh, that's
but
funny.
It's been a delight just hearing him outside of a Yakuza game, even if he is just playing another Yakuza member. But yeah, it's definitely more offbeat than the material he had to work with as Kiryu. So that's been very exciting.
Nice.
So I still don't understand why this works as an open world game and why I sort of bounced off Ghost of Tsushima so hard, but maybe the answer is just a tiny truck that you drive around.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they had Tiny Truck DLC for Ghost of Tsushima, you'd probably be all over it.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get it, because a lot of it is just like, yeah, I'm just picking up collectibles, which is something I feel like I don't really chase after in a lot of games.
Right.
But in this, it's just, I don't know what it is.
Well, cool.
Yeah, so I love that these guys made another game, and I love that it is pretty much just as weird, if not weirder, than Paradise Killer. So I'm glad it's somehow working out. Somehow a game about a weird Japanese mascot agency that is just a business simulator for most of it is actually really fun.
What is this called again?
It's called a Promise Mascot Agency, and it's out on a bunch of stuff. I'm playing it on the Switch because it looks sort of like a PS2 game, and so far it's been great.
And that's where the Switch is right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. I will mention briefly before we wrap up our show that I played Strange Horticulture again. I played this when it first came out.
You started a new run of it, or how does that work?
Yes, yeah. I played this when it first came out. I had it on Steam, and I think it was one of the first games. It might have been the first, beginning, middle, and end of a game that I played on my Steam Deck when it first came out.
Ooh.
I noticed that it was $6 on the Switch eShop last week. And I was like, oh, I would play that again on the Switch for $6. I could have just played it again on Steam. Yes, I know.
Okay.
I'm wasting money.
Well, you're giving it to the developers of Strange Horticulture.
Right, yeah. So yeah, got it for $6 and played it on the plane to and from California. Completely enthralled with it. I remember some of the story notes and some of the choices I made in the first time, but I also discovered that there's like 11 different endings or something like that for this game. So
oh my God.
I tried to do a bunch of different things that didn't get me to the same ending I got before, and was successful. I have completed a playthrough of Strange Horticulture yet again. The hook here is that you run a kind of creepy Victorian flower shop.
Oh, yeah. I think everybody knows what Strange Horticulture is about.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
I don't know. I mean, I know what it's about.
And every day you open your shop and different customers come in and they'll tell you some story about how they believe their husband was poisoned, or they inherited a trunk from their grandfather after his death, but they can't figure out how to unlock it. And he had heard that there was a flower that is good for unlocking things. Go with me on this. And a bunch of other things like that. So customers will come in and tell you their problems, or like, oh, I grew up, my grandmother always loved this type of flower, but I've never seen them growing anywhere before. And you'll have to like get out your texts, and this is you opening a drawer in your desk and taking out a giant book that is all of the things about flowers that you ever need to know. And you go through your many shelves trying to figure out which flower corresponds to the description in the text. You put a tag on it and present it to this customer, and it either helps them solve their problem or they go away happy, or you accidentally poison somebody sometimes. You can get a fail state. If you do that too many times, there's a little meter in the corner of the screen that corresponds to your sense of creeping dread or something like that. And every time you goof, it fills a little portion of the meter. So you have to be very careful. You check your sources and try to make sure you're making good choices and giving people the right plants and flowers to sort of solve their problems. The more you play, there's 14 in-game days. There's more like this recurring story about a coven of witches that was murdered and who may have done it, and somebody may have raised a demon that they're controlling, and on and on. Like you get like clips of news from the town that you're in that are just wild and sort of like frequently escalating in intensity and violence. All relayed not from you like going out and walking around town or driving a tiny truck with a mascot in it, but from customers coming into your shop and saying, "Did you hear the news?" And things like that. So you do occasionally have to like venture out of your shop to collect new plants and flowers to stock your shelves. And those are little mysteries that you solve. You'll get some map coordinates, or you'll get like, a letter from a long lost relative who was walking in the woods and saw this lovely group of mushrooms that I had never seen before. And I thought of you because I knew how much you love flowers, blah, blah, blah. So you're trying to piece together where they were walking by looking at coordinates on your map and the things that they included in their note. And traveling out to that place by just clicking on that corner of the map. A little text box will come up with it sort of telling you a story. And either you found the plant or you didn't, and you have to try again. It's really cool. It sort of basically keeps you in your shop. You're also kind of doing a bit of a management sim, but you're doing customer service and solving little mysteries. And there's an overarching mystery about this coven and all these other things happening in the town. And you make choices that sort of influence that story as it goes, and it's cool. There's like a little mystery built into it. It's kind of creepy and dark, which I kind of like. I like the little puzzle solving mystery of figuring out which plants are which. It's just very satisfying. Really good storytelling, really interesting dialogue. It's very female centric. You are a female shopkeeper. The majority of the people kind of in power who are the biggest influencers of the story you're telling are women. So that's a very interesting and unfortunately still kind of infrequent perspective in a video game. It's just, it's really, really well done and kind of really thoughtful and mysterious and has kind of a core of like darkness through it that I kind of like find entertaining.
Is there like you finding it a dramatically different experience revisiting it after 3 years?
Find it dramatically different. I remember my first playthrough trying to sort of make good decisions about, because you get a couple of choices, and these are things that sort of influence where the story goes, to try to be on the side of good and try to help the survivor of the coven that got murdered, solve the mystery and get revenge and yada yada. So I was trying to sort of lean more in that direction, but you can do things and make choices and give people like flowers that help or hurt their problem. And the more you hurt people, the darker the story gets. And you definitely come down on the side of being a more evil influence in the town. The townspeople
okay. So there's multiple solutions to most of the problems.
Correct. And I remember sort of playing it as a benevolent member of the community my first time, and just trying to make choices in my second playthrough that were a lot darker and a lot nastier. And that was super satisfying too. And at the end of the game, and this is not a spoiler, this is just sort of like structural, you get a title card that shows all the characters that were sort of like the key influencers and characters of the story that was told throughout the course of the game and where they're at as the game wraps up. And my title card, literally almost every character on it said deceased. So I got the bloody ending, I think.
Oh, man.
And that was not my experience the first time I played it. So I really like that too. So this game is great. It is $6 on the Switch. It's super cheap on just about every console at this point. They've announced a sequel called Strange Antiquities, which is a creepy antique store that I believe is supposed to take place in the same town. Excited to play that now. But this is a great game if you like narrative, if you like a little bit of puzzle, if you're okay with the creepy stuff. Would definitely encourage people to check out Strange Horticulture while it is at a bargain price.
Nice.
Yeah. I almost never play games twice. And this one has been a ton of fun to play 2 times.
I think I know the first time I played Mass Effect, or even like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, another BioWare game. My first playthrough was just the squeaky clean, like Paragon. I'm going to, do what I can to help everybody and make the right choices. And it was very good because like the stories of those games are pretty good. But then I was like, I'm going to see what the Renegade route is like. And it just felt so like almost liberating to make all these bad choices. and like unlock the Force lightning or whatever that they don't let the Jedis use. Almost like the first time, or I don't know, this was your experience. So like for the first time you played like Grand Theft Auto, and you're just like, oh, this game is all about just committing crimes that you're like not really supposed to do because they're crimes. But it was just so exciting to suddenly be in the same story or the same world or whatever, but just feel like you had the permission to make all these really antisocial decisions.
Mm. Yeah.
Did not expect that from the Flower Shop game, though.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know if I necessarily did either, but I again, like I said, as I was playing it, I recalled that there were multiple endings. I didn't remember how many until I Googled it. And just decided like, oh, well, I remember being kind of a good person and a constructive member of the community the first time I played it a couple of years ago when it first came out. So let me try to make choices that are much darker.
Yeah.
It was fun to sort of shape the story that way too and sort of see where it went.
Would you like, I mean, in Mass Effect, it was almost binary. Like there was always like the good choice and the bad choice. And I would just very deliberately, on my second playthrough, pick the worst possible choice. Even though a lot of times I like actually still like felt kind of bad about it. Even though I was like, I set out to do a playthrough where I just pick the worst possible choice. Is it sort of set up the same way in this, or would you remember the choice you had made before and just try and pick the opposite, or just make the opposite decisions in any, or given any option?
It is fairly binary, but it is not overt necessarily that you're making a good or bad choice.
Okay.
It's not the infamous games where it's like, this is what a good guy would do and this is what a bad guy would do. All of the players, all the characters that come into your shop eventually sort of fit into the grander mystery. And you will occasionally get choices to make where you can present them this plant or this plant. And it doesn't necessarily tell you this is the good ending and this is the bad ending. So you're just trying to again, you use your knowledge of the plant and the tool that you have, which is your little, index, your catalog of plants, to try to decide, do I want to one of the choices is, do you give, somebody's going to fight the demon, and you can give them a potion that gives them immense strength and fortitude, or you can give them one that creates paranoia and fear. And you don't tell them which one you're giving them. They are asking you for the one that will give them strength. And they're like, and I trust you because you've always been a good ally to me. But you can give them the poison, essentially, the one that will make them terrified and will make the demon stronger.
Well, I mean, that doesn't seem like a very good decision or a helpful decision.
No. You do get, again, at the end, you get characters on your end title card that says this character will not speak to you anymore.
Right.
Yeah. And no longer comes into the shop, and things like that. So again, you could just give them the thing they're asking for. And I think that's what I did in my first playthrough. So I was trying to sort of make the nastier decisions the second time around.
Is there sort of an in-game reason why you would give them the unhelpful thing? Or are you just trying to drive people away from the town?
No, not necessarily. It's more of just a role-playing choice. You do get some color that the people in the town can be a little nasty and have not been the most welcoming to you and things like that.
So you're just very resentful. So that's why.
Yeah. And you could choose to sort of be a more positive influence and welcome everybody into your shop, or you can choose to poison people and make them fearful. Yeah, I mean, it's some of those choices and those pathways feel subtle. They don't necessarily feel, like I said, like a paragon versus I don't know what the opposite of a paragon is, a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I didn't realize. I mean, it's also kind of interesting that is your circumstance coming to the town where you're an outsider, and who knows if you're gonna want to help these people or not.
Yeah, and those little notes, those little story notes, are subtle. They're not again, I think it is they're narratively interesting that it doesn't sort of beat you over the heads with those things, because I think that could be very influencing. If the game is nobody here likes you, that sort of could influence the choices you make from that point forward. But they're just little notes, just little things about somebody was mean to you when you got a coffee this morning or whatever in your little town. Perhaps that fuels a choice you make later. Yeah, it's just kind of interesting.
That would be really good. I can't think of a game. Well, I mean, that probably actually almost definitely happened in Mass Effect where there are just other characters who you don't like, and of course you're gonna like hit them with a wrench or whatever you have the opportunity. Right. But I think like in my first playthrough, I would just like still try and take the high road. So even more satisfying than the next one where it's just like, I'm just gonna punch him in the face.
Well, there was a lot of my attempts to be kind of a good guy in like Dishonored, in the Dishonored games.
Yeah.
2 of those, I think. And occasionally kind of not trying to kill everybody I encounter basically, and not trying to leave dead bodies everywhere and stuff like that, and be a bit of a pacifist who is just trying to fight the good fight. But occasionally I would screw up or make a bad choice and accidentally kill somebody. And do I just mostly
by accident?
Yeah. Do I just steer into this? And there's like big consequences in the Dishonored games. Like the game does get more difficult and there's more rats around the city and stuff like that. And it just, the whole thing gets a little darker and nastier. Mm-hmm. And characters respond to you in different ways and are more fearful of you and things like that. So again, this like a subtle sort of role-playing element to it, but it does sort of shape the world in the game too, which is kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like that stuff. I like when it's not necessarily the telltale, like we always talk about the David will remember that you betrayed him later, right? Like the game is telling you like this is an important decision. You can like are role playing right this moment, but it's more like, I don't know, this sort of feels like the right thing to do in this situation. You're making that choice in the game.
Yeah, I like when it's you're free to make sort of like the decision that you think makes sense rather than the one that's going to get you the best gameplay result.
Right.
It's going to get you the coolest power up.
Right. Oh, sure. Yeah, that too.
Although sometimes you really want that power up. Sometimes you got to make that choice.
Cool. So again, this is called Strange Horticulture. It's just about on everything, I think, at this point. It's been out for a few years, but it's still worth revisiting and is super cheap right now if you can find it.
Nice. If you can find it. Yeah. Where is it?
If it's in stock on your eShop of choice.
Yeah.
We should wrap this thing up. If you need any more video game hangover in your brain, you should follow us on Blue Sky. Just look for VGHangover.com. You can always get show notes and links and tell us what you thought about this episode at VGHangover.com as well. We would love for you to join us on our Discord. You can get a link to that at VGHangover.com. And we would love for you to play Mario Kart 8 with us this coming Monday night on June 2nd at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Details for that, believe it or not, also on our Discord and at VGHangover.com. We would love it if you would subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, and anywhere else you can find a podcast, if they're in stock, and tell your friends about the show.
I wish the show would stop going out of stock. Such a pain. What were we talking about? Yes, tell your friends about the show. Tell your friends we're playing Mario Kart and they're welcome to join. Although I don't know how I feel about 24 people in the new Mario Kart. I think that's too many people.
It's a lot. It's going to be very chaotic.
Yeah. But anyway, tell up to 7 of your friends to join us for Mario Kart, whatever. It'll be great.
Well, I'm one of them, so tell up to 6 of your friends.
Tell 6 of your friends. Yeah, don't by no means should you tell more than 6 people about Mario Kart. No, tell everybody. But we'll do multiple races, or I don't know. This is getting way off track. Speaking of multiple races, I don't know what's going on. We want to give thanks again to RJ Lake this week for our intro and outro music. If you'd like to hear more of his work, you can go to spellmynamewithabang.bandcamp.com and download his whole discography. Maybe send in some dollars.
That's a good idea.
Or whatever units of your local currency.
Well, not pennies or nickels, though, apparently, because those are going away.
Oh, it's about time.
Yeah.
This administration could do one good thing. Let's get rid of the penny.
Get rid of pennies. We'll be back. We'll be back eventually. We'll be back on Monday with Mario Kart. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a whole new episode. That will be the big Nintendo Switch 2 mega episode, hopefully. Yeah, if everything gets delivered on time.
We're going to be driving over one with a car. You don't want to miss that.
Oh, nice. Will it blend? Find out. Until then, this is Randy Dickinson.
This is DJ Ross.
Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Goodbye.
Good night.
See ya.